Hey, welcome everyone. It's Petri. Welcome everybody. Welcome. Come on in. We're doing Santa Claus. We're doing portrait work. Yes, indeed. We're having a fun time. This is the finished painting. If you want to work from this painting, that's fine. I'll try to zoom in here a little bit. You can actually work right from this when you paint. So you just have to remember when you're going to start your painting, you can just go back to the beginning of the video if you want, and you can pause on this portion of the video. You can hit pause, and then you'll have this portion of the painting. And we'll start in just a second. We'll get right into the pencil drawing and the painting. But this is just I really can't use the photo that I'm working from. So this way, I'll take this painting here and we'll put it in the beginning of the video so you can see it. This is the finished painting, and you can work right from this right now. You can also, for your pencil drawing, you can stop the video at the pencil drawing when we're pretty much finished with the pencil drawing. Hit pause. You can draw your drawing onto your watercolor paper from that pencil drawing. And then once you watch the painting portion of the video, then you can come back to the beginning, and then you can pause on this first part of the video, the first 1 or 2 minutes or so, and then you can work, do your painting from here. So I'll zoom back just a little bit. And that's the finished painting. All right, welcome everyone. Petri here, and we're off to another great video. We're going to actually work on a Santa Claus picture. Yes, we're going to do Santa Claus, and we're going to have fun, enjoy it. We're going to refer back to one video. So if you remember, just a few weeks ago or so, I did a quick video on drawing the human head. So if you can go back to that video and reference that video, you'll see how we did all of the hash marks around the human head here. We drew an egg shape first, and then we created hash marks just so that we have the basic layout of where the eyes are, the nose, the bottom of the nose, the lips, the bottom of the chin, the hair. We did the whole gamut as far as a portrait in frontal position. So if you need to brush up on this, please do. This is really, if you can memorize this, or at least always draw this out in your own studio and have this handy, so whenever you're going to do a portrait of anybody, you might be doing Santa Claus or someone in your family, a picture, a photograph, a magazine picture of a famous person, different personalities out there, and dignitaries, whatever it is that you like to draw and you're interested in, you can draw the portraits of those people that you enjoy, your favorite newscasters and whatever it is. You can just imagine anybody and everybody you can do portraits of and have a great time and have fun doing it. All you have to do is just remember, when you're starting out with your drawing, you're going to want to just have these basic proportions across from you. So when you're drawing, you'll remember to just do a light sketch of these lines. And in this video, drawing the head, again, if you refer back to that, you'll see how you do that first. And then once you get to this point where you've got the basic hash marks or basic layout points of your portrait human head, then you just go from there and you just dial in the more of the detail aspects of it. Does the person have a wide nose, a thin nose, big lips, small lips, big eyes, smaller eyes? Are the eyes and eyebrows close together? Are the eyebrows a little higher, a little lower? So you'll see the details as you go. But if you just get that basic, again, the basic layout here as we're showing, you'll have that to start with, because that's just fundamental basics. They may vary just a tiny bit, but not much at all. You'll always find that these are solid, true positionings of all the features of the human head. So if you have to brush up on that, you can do that at any time, or you can just work right from this. It's not really going to be rocket science here. We're just going to have a fun time, and we're going to do a Santa Claus picture, and I'm just going to basically do this from a picture that I really can't show again online. On my video here, it's copyright issues, so you have to understand that, you know, when we're on YouTube, as artists on YouTube, we're not allowed to a lot of times copy things or put things on our videos. Otherwise, we might be infringing on someone else's rights. And so I don't want to do that. And we'll just you can work from my picture, basically. So when I'm done with this complete painting, I'll put that at the beginning of the video. So you'll be able to see it right from the start, how it looks. You can copy from that. You can stop the video at any point as well. And that's really, and hit pause on your video, and you'll be able to work from that too as well. All right, so now let's start out. We're going to do Santa Claus. We're going to make the portrait. It's going to be, again, we're going to do an egg shape. So let's do an egg shape head. And I'm just going to get my basic egg shape like that. And I'm trying to think if I just... try to see if I can get it better. Okay, I'll draw a little bit darker so you can see. That's the basic egg shape. So now I'm just going to go through my thought process here. Okay, so I have my egg shape. I'm good. And then that's just a really... This egg shape is just going to get me where I have the size of the head in my picture space, in my rectangle here. So my rectangle's here. I have tape as well on my paper. Makes a nice border. And once I have my head, I know, okay, good, it's filling the paper. I'm not making a tiny little small head here, and then once I start working, I realize, wow, I made this too small. Right from the start, I'm thinking, let me make sure I fill my paper with that portrait, the human head here, and this Santa Claus here. Now, once I have that, I'm going to use my basic hash marks. I'll use halfway is about the eyes. So there we go, halfway is the eyes. Maybe I'll make this a little more interesting. Maybe I'll make the eyes a little bit tilted. Maybe we'll make... So even when you make this egg shape, you can still tilt the eyes and make the head a little bit on an angle, like the person, like Santa's head might be tilted and he's thinking of something, the girls and boys, and who's going to get some presents. And hopefully he doesn't have to give any charcoal to anyone. And so we have our eyes here, halfway point approximately, eye sockets. And so we do that. We get our eye sockets in just, we can even pretend there's glasses on there. 2 glasses, and then also about the space of another eye in between the eyes. Now I'm thinking, okay, nose. Now we have the nose approximately halfway between the chin and the eyes is the nose, bottom of the nose. So we do that. And then now we're going to have, from the bottom of the nose, we're going to have thirds. 1, 2, 3. So chin, 1/3, 1/3, bottom of the nose. Now this is Santa Claus. So he's going to have a beard, a white fluffy beard. So now you can kind of see now, we really have the basics set up now on our drawing here. We have the eye sockets. We have an eye length in between each of the eyes, bottom of the nose, top of the lips, or center of the mouth. We have the, let's say the lower portion of the dental arch, which is the round part of the mouth, and the muscles in the face there. And then the chin. So now we have those points set up, and now we're good. Now we're going to look and key in on our figure. So this is what we would do if we were going to do any portrait whatsoever, whoever it is. Might be, as far as, let's say, just, standard grown-up portraits of grown-ups in anything you can imagine. If you like somebody on the news, your favorite sportscaster, a favorite athlete, a favorite politician, your favorite person, a family member, a photograph. You might be doing somebody live in front. You might have someone pose for you while you do their portrait, whatever it is. You stick with this format to start with, and then once you have this format set, then you can go from here and get the details of that person's particular look. Does that make sense? So now we're going to get it. We're going to get the personal look of what we're doing. We have everything all set up. Now we're going to say Santa has a big fluffy white beard, so we're going to set up our beard here and just start slightly sketching our beard. And his mustache is going to kind of cover the top of his lip. So we'll leave just the bottom of his lip here. So here we have the bottom of his lip. And we're going to have his beard is going to go right beneath his nostrils. So now his nostrils, let's make those. So I'm just going to make a very light. I might have made the nose a touch too wide, so I'm going to go in and just erase. No problem. I use a kneaded eraser. Doesn't make any crumbs. And I'm just going to do my nose again very carefully. I want to make sure I made it a little bit too wide. So I'm just going to keep it a little more narrow. Just some small nostril shapes. And the wings of the nostrils over here. And the bridge of the nose here. So I'm just going to make two very light lines for the bridge of the nose. A lot of the details we'll paint in, so we're not going to be so concerned with the real fine details. And we're just going to put some eyebrows here. Okay, now here his eyebrows higher. He's thinking about something, so he has one eyebrow a little higher. He's thinking and he's questioning something in his mind. Now here, let's do the eyes here, and we're just going to make the eyes like so. Now if we want to make Santa look a little more, he's kind of a little heavier now. Santa's a little heavy. He's got a little extra pounds on. He's working hard, and he's got to have some fuel, and he eats good healthy meals, and so he's a little chunky. And I'll make his eyelids there, and he's looking upwards, so his eyes are upwards in his. So we're seeing in this eye, he's squinting a little bit. Now, if you find that, if you'd rather, let's just do the eyes normal. Let's not get too much detail in there, like with squinting and stuff like that. That's a little bit, I'm already starting to get off the beaten track here. Let's make normal eyes. Just a light indication. We'll paint those in later. Again, mostly everything we're going to do is the paint's going to cover what we're doing. We're going to actually paint in mostly, all the details are, let's say, painted in. We're just getting the general feel of the drawing and where everything is, like the placement of the eyes, the eyebrows here we're doing. He's got some, we'll make his brow, a little bit of the creases in his brow. And then his hair is pretty high up. Let's get we're going to have a nice hat on here, a fluffy white hat. And then like that. So we'll have hat there. Now we're going to do some hair here. He's going to have long hair. Now the main thing is I'm going to be careful to make lines where the shadows are. The light's coming from here. Let's note that. As we're working, we say, all right, now we're starting to see shadows and lights in our drawing. Let's make our light lamp here, our lamp with light, just to pretend that's where the light's coming from, this side here, shining down. Things will come together eventually. Right now it might not be looking like Santa, but I promise you, once we start painting, everything's going to look good. So I'm making, and now we're going to make the beard. Okay, the beard is going to come down this way. We have the muscles of the face here. Okay. We have plenty of beard here on the sides of the face. Now that we have the beard drawn in, let's erase the chin and the bottom of the face, the jaw line. So we're going to erase the jaw line and the chin since we have the beard in. The beard will cover all of the chin and the jaw line, but we still need to draw it in the beginning. And again, you'll hear me say this over and over again here on my channel. When you're doing drawings, they're going to not always look so great. When you're doing your pencil drawings, don't worry about that. If the pencil drawing looks a little funny, you're probably doing a good job then, because the pencil drawing should not look perfect or anything like that. It should look like it has the rough idea of what you're working on. It should not look 100% perfect or have all the details. Watercolor is we're going to paint in most of our information, but we have our pencil lines and pencil drawing to just get the fundamentals of what we're going after here. And so that's an important part to always remember. Now I'm going to look and see where his shoulder is here compared to where, let's say, his chin would be. And that's about where that top of his vest is. And he has his vest there. So we're going to get some of that red vest in. And then over here, how about over here? About the same. So his vest is over here. And I think we're good. Let's take a break. Before we take a break, let's just, again, go over quickly what we did here. We just started out with what we were working on a few weeks ago. This is something you should have in your studio across from you when you're doing portrait work. The basic layout of the human head shows you basically the divisions, the space divisions of the features of the face, of the portrait of the human head, where the lips, nose, eyes are, the nose, bottom of the nose. All these features are just are carefully noted when we're doing a portrait drawing. Some things will fluctuate. You might notice a person's nose might be a little longer, a little shorter. Someone's lips might be a little wider. Their mouth might be a little smaller. You'll notice those fine details as you work on your portraits as you go. But for just the basics, that's all you need is this. So that's drawing the human head. I did this a few weeks ago or so. You can look that up on YouTube. And now's a perfect time, too, to say, hey, if you haven't subscribed, come on by, subscribe, hit the subscribe button below, hit the notification bell right next to it. This way you're alerted when our new videos come out. We're doing videos just like this, and we cover everything watercolor, and we do all the subject matter you could ever imagine. We'll do flowers, portrait work, we're going to do figures, we're going to do street scenes, landscapes, seascapes, boat paintings. We do everything here, so just keep coming by. You'll always find something you like eventually. If it's not every week, maybe every week or so, you might find something you're going to want to work on. So we cover the fundamentals here, and the fundamental techniques of everything of working with paint, water, the watercolor medium, as well as drawing. So thanks so much for coming by again, and we'll be right back. We're just going to get started on our painting in just a few minutes. Okay, we'll see you in just a second. All right, we are back again. We're picking back up. We're going to just make a couple final details to our drawing. I noticed, I think it would look really good for us to put some glasses on here, so I'll take you through my thought process here. We have Santa's face here. It's looking good. We got all the details, the beard, the hair. We have some of that red vest over here. So we have some balancing effect of the red vest, Santa's vest over here, and then we're going to have a red cap up here, some white fur on top of the cap, and then we're going to have the white hair. So Santa's got his white hair there, and let's see here. Everything is looking pretty good. Let's make some glasses. That's what I was thinking we should do. Let's make some glasses on Santa here. Maybe we'll make some glasses here. We'll make maybe some rectangular glasses. Those would look good. Maybe like that, and then up like so. So we're going to make some glasses for Santa here. And they'll be rectangular shaped glasses. Like that. Going back up. I think that looks good. And there we go. Little details on the sides of the glasses. And that looks fine. And again, we're going to paint in the details, so that's the thing. You don't have to worry. Again, if your drawing looks a little funny, don't worry about it. It shouldn't look good, actually. The drawing should look very basic, primitive looking, and it's not going to look like we're not doing a lot of shading, as we say. We're not doing shading and all kinds of, if this was a pencil drawing where that was our sole purpose, was to do a pencil drawing here, well then, yeah, it would look better because we do everything in pencil. We shade everything and make things light and dark, but we're doing a watercolor painting, so in that case, you're roughing in the general idea of everything with your pencil drawing. So it's not going to look 100% nailed down as you draw and do your drawing. And now, let's start painting. We'll get in, we'll take a small brush. We have a number 5 Da Vinci here, travel brush, Kolinsky Sable, round brush, fresh clean water, and we're ready to go. Let's start out with the darks. We always start out with the darks first you know what, let's not do that actually. Let's do the glazing approach here, now that I'm thinking about it. So what we're going to want to do is, we're going to mix a flesh tone. So I'm thinking out loud here, flesh tone, cadmium red, and yellow ochre. And we'll get a flesh tone going. A little bit more red, I think, needs. And then we're going to use some cerulean blue mixed in a separate section. Let's do it up here. That's going to be the cooler skin tone. We'll mix with the red. So we have some cerulean blue and some cadmium red with a little bit of yellow ochre. I would say it's about, I don't know, maybe 3/4 cadmium red, 1/4 yellow ochre, similar to that mixture. Now my goal is to cover the entire face of Santa with my flesh tone. And on the sides of Santa's face, I'm going to want to work in a little bit of the blue, the cerulean blue. Just for a start, we're just getting in the first glazing. So in essence, we're going to do the glazing approach here. So if you've been following me for a while, many of you have been following me for many years now even, you'll know we do either usually the glazing approach or the alla prima approach, the straight, direct approach, where you're going in, you're starting out, you're getting your darks in first. That's usually our alla prima. Or we're going to go with our lighter washes first, which is the glazing approach. We'll do light glazing of lighter wash first, and then we'll put in our darker tonal values as we go, and we'll build up some layers on top of the first lighter glazing. So that's really the glazing approach. So now when we do this, glazing approach, I'll add a little bit of, I added a touch of burnt sienna and a touch of alizarin crimson just to maybe give me a little more of a interesting color variation. But if you stick with just cadmium red and a little bit of yellow ochre, you should be fine with your skin tone. Now what I'll do is we're going to go in. This has to be quick, so you have to do this sort of fast. You can't really take too long to do your first glazing. And also, let me think out loud here. When I'm going in and doing my glazing here, I want to make sure that I do it fast, and I think about it before I do it. So I want to think about what I'm going to do before I do it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to get the nose first, and then slowly swirl my brush around from the nose outward, and then end up on the edges of the face. So let's do that. So I'm going to start with the nose first. Put some paint on the nose first, right? Pick up more paint. And now I just want to work from here and just try to keep the brush on the paper the whole time. I don't want to lift up. I just want to keep moving that paint around. Here, see how I'm doing that? I'm not lifting up the brush whatsoever. I'm keeping the brush on the page the whole time. And then quickly I'm going to be going to my cerulean blue next. Rinse my brush quick, cerulean blue. And I'm just going to go around like that with the cerulean blue. And I blend it all together like that. And that's it. So what I did was I started out with the red and the yellow ochre, center of the nose, took that wash and slowly worked that wash outwards toward the edges of the face. And then as the face, as this, you know, the human head here, Santa Claus, as we're going, there's more shadows on the sides of the head here. So that's why I added in some cerulean blue just to add some cooler, shadowy type wash on the sides. And that's really all we need to do. And then we let this dry. And we can also go in and do some red for the lips here, like that. And if we want, we can just go in and add some red for the... And you can wait till later to do the vest, Santa's vest. You can wait till later. Or we do a little bit now, just a little bit of... A little bit of cobalt blue, purple. Just to mix up a little bit of color in there. Straight out of the tube paint, no water. And maybe we can even go in, we'll do some of Santa's hat. Straight out of the tube paint, cadmium red. And then here what I'm thinking is the shadowing is on this side over here, the left side. So we'll make that a little darker with some purple and blue, cobalt blue and ultramarine violet, just to have a little bit of cooler looking red. And then here we have the hat up top is catching more of that bright light. So let's just... And then we could even go with some cerulean blue up here, just to get a little bit of color going there too for the background. And if you find any of your washes start to blossom or bloom into the other section, you just lift it up with some paper towel. You fold your paper, this is a tissue. You just take your tissue and lift up, press on there. Just lift up a little bit. If you see your paint starting to drift into another section, you don't want that to happen. And you just have a fun time with that, and a little bit of splashing, a little bit of cerulean blue, a little bit of splashing over here, over there, just to create some interesting things going on in the painting. There we go. All right, so we have okay, now the key is letting the portrait area, the face, Santa's face here, we have to let this dry 100%. You really can't go in here anymore until this is 100% dry. That's really a tough thing to do. It takes discipline. You're the watercolor artist. You're the artist here. You have to make that point to just say, you know what, once I do that face wash, that first wash, you have to just let it dry completely 100%. That's why I did some work over here and up on the hat, because I know my tendencies, I want to keep working and I don't want to stop really, so I want to keep going. And then that's where the issue happens. The problem happens when we go into a spot. So let's remember that 100%. Focus on that first wash when you're doing the face here in this painting. Get that first wash in, and then that's it. You have to let it 100% dry. It could take an hour to 2 to dry. So you're best off letting it dry for a couple hours. If you use a blow dryer, you can obviously probably dry, in like 10, 15 minutes or even 5, 10 minutes. So that's up to you if you want to do that to dry it quicker with the blow dryer. But let's take a break. I'm going to let this dry naturally. I think it's better to let it dry naturally. So you can now take a break for maybe 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, and that should be good. If you really want to make sure it's dry 100%, then you let it dry like 1 to 2 hours, and then you'll be fine. But I think we should be good 10 to 15 minutes, and it's pretty warm in the studio here where I'm working, so I have a t-shirt on, so I know it's pretty warm. So you can just do that. You can give it 15, 20 minutes or so, and that should be fine. It's already starting to dry a little bit, but it still needs to be really, really dry. You don't want really hardly any dampness in that paper when you're going back in to do your next wash. All right, we'll be right back. Don't forget, you have to take that break and let this dry 100% before you go back in to do your details. All right, we're back again. We're starting up. We're getting our washes started here again. We're going to do our final washes actually for our Santa portrait. That first wash actually that we did really covers a lot of ground and actually is the foundation of the portrait painting. Now we're just really going to go in and get some darker darks in here, and even we might add just a touch of we might use a little bit of the white paint on this painting. We might use some titanium white to get some highlights here and there, but so far we're really in good shape. We have the wash on the face done, the lip. That's all the real flesh tones that we're looking at, and the rest is Santa's white beard and mustache and hair, and we did a little bit of the hat and the vest, Santa's vest. So we're really well along on this painting. We're really actually in great shape. We're just going to do a little more to it, and I think we'll leave it go. We don't want to overwork. That's the main thing. Overworking is really going to cause us an issue with the painting looking just really unpleasant looking. Sometimes when things are overfinished, it just like sort of when you look at the painting, you don't want to really focus on it too much because you can kind of just see that it looks like suffered over and just too much washes and too much detail goes into it. So let's keep our paintings looking light on detail. Let's keep the details light, not too many details. Let's just get in the basics and we'll be fine. And again, just to mention, we created a video just a couple weeks ago, or probably, yeah, I think it was a few weeks ago, we did our drawing the human head. So if you go to that video first, that gives you the basics of where everything's positioned on the portrait, the human head. So that gives you all the space divisions, thirds, the lower portion of the human head near the jawline. The eyes are halfway between the top of the head approximately and the chin. And that's pretty much all you have to remember when you get started on your portrait, and then we covered that when we first started our Santa. Now, I always like to mention, we do paintings like this constantly every week. We're creating new paintings. We're doing portraits, figures, flower paintings, seascapes, landscapes, boats, street scenes, you name it. We're doing it here, watercolor, everything watercolor. So come on by, hit that subscribe button. If you hit the subscribe button, you'll be notified each time we make a new video. And we make videos, at least once or twice a week, sometimes even 3 videos a week. So you'll have plenty to work on. If you don't like one video, you'll probably like the next one that we're doing. So have fun, enjoy it. This is watercolor. It takes a lot of practice, and that's why we work a lot on this channel. So you can keep working and practicing our tutorials here. All right, so let's get back into it. We're working here. Now we're going to go in with some darker tonal values to get establish the darker tonal values in the portrait. Let's go with some raw umber, maybe some cobalt blue and raw umber, and those will be 2. And let's get our palette. I'll dip my paper towel in some water, and I'm just going to clean up the palette a little bit, just so we can have clean working areas in our palette. We don't want to keep adding colors over colors over colors onto the palette. That gets to be a problem if we're mixing paints and we start to just have a lot of colors mixing. It's good to keep the colors nice and fresh from the palette. So we're going to start mixing a little bit of a darker tonal value, raw umber, cobalt blue. We'll do some, and a little bit of maybe burnt sienna. Let's do some eye shadowing. Let's do the underside of the eyelid for Santa there. And again, we're not going to go too much. We're not going to go too detailed. So I'm just thinking out loud here as I go. We're not going to make the eyes completely filled in like bowling balls or marbles. We're going to want to leave light in the eyes. We don't want to completely block in the eyes. We want to leave the under painting in there. Can you see how I did that with the eyes? I didn't fill it in completely like a ball, like a marble, or I didn't do pretty much like if this is the, well, let me grab a piece of paper here. I'm just grabbing a piece of scrap paper. So the eyes, we don't want to fill in a complete ball like that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you see that, that's just a complete ball, all filled in. We want to actually, when we do the eyeball, or when we do the iris of the eye. So this is the eyelid, like that. When we do the eyelid, we want to leave light in there. Usually at the top, it's darker up here. At the top of the eye, there's more shadow at the top, like that. But this part of the eye, the pupil and the iris, leave light in there. That looks much better like that. If you can leave some light in there like that, versus just filling it in like this. Does that make sense? So if we just go with a ball and we fill in the ball all with color, it's not as good. It's not as exciting, not as realistic as if we leave light in there like that. So some of that white paper. Just an interesting thing to remember when we're doing the eyes. Okay, so we've stuck with that game plan. Now we're going to continue. Cobalt blue, burnt sienna. Now we're going to have some shadow over here. So I'm going to put in some shadow. I keep a tissue along with me and I dab off some paint once in a while and some water off the brush. And this way I can actually lighten things up and have less paint and water on my brush, if that makes sense. And then over here, some cerulean blue. I'm going to add some darker darks here. And always remember, when you're painting this, you're going to look at my painting, my finished painting, and just work from that. You're going to work from my finished painting. And I dry my brush a little bit. More flesh color, cadmium red, yellow ochre, a little bit of burnt sienna maybe. I'm not worrying about the glasses right now. So now I put on some wash there, then I rinse the brush off, dry off some of the water on the tissue off the brush, so I'm checking water off the brush hairs, and then I lightly smooth out that paint at the edges so that it just slowly blends in with the paper like that. And then a little more, just like that. There we go. Then we're going to do some more wash underneath the nose here. And I'm just slowly adding a little bit of shadow and wash to the painting. And a little bit of burnt umber and cobalt blue or some French ultramarine blue just for some eyebrow feel there. There's some darker shadows under there. So really what I'm doing is I'm just placing some paint, darker tonal values here, burnt umber, cobalt blue, still making some more flesh tones with cadmium red and cadmium yellow. Yellow ochre, I should say, and cadmium red just to get that flesh tone. And then let's go over here. We're going to do some more. Then we're just getting a little bit of the shadowing under the eyes. And then maybe a little bit of darker darks here, so underneath the eyes. So you can kind of work here and there. I keep using the same colors over and over: cadmium red, yellow ochre, maybe a little bit of burnt sienna here for darker flesh tone maybe. So I can work that over into this here. And this is shadowing under the eyes, the eyelid. So I'm just trying to find my darks and lights here as I go. And that's really something that I'm just looking at my photograph. And again, you're going to work from mine. You're going to work from my picture here. And we're going to continue with some burnt umber, French ultramarine blue for the darkest dark. And that's just a little bit of a nostril, like that. Just two little dots for the nostrils. The nostrils should be almost just barely visible. So when you do your nostrils, just a little, I always think to myself when I do nostrils, just a little tiniest touch of dark there. Like you wouldn't want to make a large spot of dark under those nostrils. You just want to leave them just a very, very slightest bit of darks there. Then you'd let that dry completely, and then you can go back in and add some other tone under there if you need that when you're doing your there might be some shadowing under there, some cooler. And I'm putting some more flesh color on that shadow on the right side over here because I went a little bit too cool with that. So I want to make sure I have some of that red flesh color on these shadow areas over here. I don't want it to be all like just a blue color. That would look kind of funny. So I'll put some flesh color in there. I don't want to overwork either. Again, too much overworking things really can cause a problem. So I'm getting to the point where I'm feeling pretty good about this. Once we put those glasses in, that's going to add some really nice detail to the face, and really, he looks like a younger Santa here. I need a little more wrinkles on the face, I think, so we'll work on that. We'll try to get some more wrinkles on there. Let's see what we can do. We'll get some wrinkles up here. Adding these wrinkles on the brow really helps. to put some, a little bit of, wisdom and age on Santa here. He's been out on his sled, bringing gifts to everybody. And again, this is fun. We're just having fun with this. We're not trying to again, not too many details. You can kind of see, right? I'm not going too much crazy with details. Enough to the wrinkles under the eyes, on the forehead, on the brow here, That should be good. Now we'll start working in some details on the beard. That's going to be important because now we're going to counterbalance. We did a lot of work in the face here of Santa, the eyes and the flesh tones and the brow and the wrinkles and all this interesting stuff. Now we'll go in and we'll start creating some shadows where the hair is. And this is where we're going to start to just, I'm doing some I'll just do some, I'm just going to take my brush and do some kind of wispy, hair kind of stuff. Like I don't want to go too much detail. There's shadows over here on the on this side. The light's coming again from up here on the left, this way. So once we just get some of the shadows starting, we're doing the light and shadow now. Now we're just bringing the shadows here. And we're going to do some more. So now, have fun with this. I might use my, we're going to use the needlepoint brush here. This will give us some really nice details. This is where, when we're doing watercolors, we want to maximize our range of details. If you have a fine brush like this, you're going to maximize your details in your painting, which is going to look even better. It's going to give you that extra fine calligraphy within your painting to make it look better. And I wouldn't go with too many fine lines, but enough that we're trying to and we will do some we're going to need to do a few spots of white paint here and there to get the details that we need. So that won't be a problem. We're going to use a little bit of okay, now we are really Okay, there'll be some natural shadowing at the mustache area, coming down like that. There'll be some shadowing underneath here a little bit. If you don't like a shadow or two that you put in, you just lift it up a little bit, but I think everything's looking fine now. There's a little darker shadows over here. Under this area. So I don't want to go too much, just a touch. All right, so we're doing pretty good here. We're making good progress, but let's take a break. Again, if we work too long, after 20 minutes, a half an hour, I think we start to lose a little bit of concentration. So let's do that. Let's take a break, let our concentration build back up. We'll step back. Does that make sense? When we step back, take a break, when we come back and we look at everything, we can kind of assess what we need to do a little more effectively. So we'll come back, look at it and say, oh, you know what? It's almost done. All we need to do is A, B, or C. Does that make sense? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a break. I'll come back in 15 minutes or so, and we'll look at it together. We'll check it out, and we'll kind of see what we'll need to do to finish up this Santa Claus painting. All right, we'll come right back and finish up. All right, we're back. We're having fun. We're doing Santa Claus. We're well almost completed here. We actually we are finishing up our touches here on the portrait of Santa Claus, and as you can see, we did our flesh tones first. That first light wash, we let that dry 100%. Then we went in and did our darker washes, the eyebrows, the eyes, we did the vest, the hat. We did some darker flesh tones on the cheeks of Santa Claus here to build a little bit of that three-dimensional feel. We have the light coming from here across, so this way this side of the face is a little bit darker. The left side here. And so we're pretty much in really good shape here. We're going to add some shadowing under here. Now, I think we can do actually, we'll take some, I'll use a larger brush, a number 6, round brush, Kolinsky Sable. And we'll do some, I think we'll just do some, just some light washes and a few splashes. And maybe I'll do just a little bit of a dark green there, and then work that out a little bit. Maybe a little bit of cerulean blue mixed in with that. And this is the shadow side, so I have a little bit of fun with the splashing and a little bit of washes along the side of the hat and over here on the side of the hat on this side, the light side, and along the hair too. You know, maybe make some interesting colors here and there. wanted to fill in that there. That came out a little bit, that got washed. Some of the wash got depleted there, so I wanted to get that in, like so. And that's looking fine. Beard looks good, mustache. The facial features, what we're going to do is we'll add the glasses now. So we're going to go in and get cadmium, or actually French ultramarine blue, maybe a little bit of that purple, or just ultramarine violet, and then we're going to do some burnt umber to get that really rich dark we need here for the glasses. So we have almost like a black, very close to a black. And you can add black too. I have some black in my palette here. So now we're going to try to make sure that if we're doing the glasses, we definitely, when you go in to do your glasses, you have to make sure that your area that you're painting is 100% dry. So you would try to avoid painting any part of these glasses where the paper is still damp or wet. So I haven't done any painting in the last half an hour to this area where the glasses are. So that's how I know I can go in and do them. And I'm just going to use my needlepoint brush, which has great, and I'm just going over the top of my pencil lines. That's all I'm doing. I'm going over the top of my pencil lines. I already drew in my glasses, so I don't need to redraw them. I just go over the top of the pencil lines. And that's it. And that goes really fast, quick. You don't want to spend a lot of time on that. We will go back and maybe add some white, titanium white highlights to the glasses because it'll look good, actually. So those glasses, I think that's really it. That's all we really have to do now. Other than that, I think we're pretty much complete. Since we have these dark glasses here, we can also add a couple more darks here and there, just to maybe under the eyelids there's a little bit of darks in the eyes. And I think that's good. So I'm going to, this is my titanium white, tube of titanium white. I rinse my brush off, dry off my brush, go into my yellow ochre, put in some yellow ochre into my white to make it like an off-white, almost like a creamy, warm white. I do that. Then next I take some of that paint and check it off the brush so that I don't have too much paint on there. I'd rather have less than too much. So then I do that on the tissue. So it's just, and then we add our highlights to the glasses. Just a few spots. There we go. One there. And you'd be surprised. You just do a few of those tiny bits of paint like that. Light bouncing off the rim of the glasses. Maybe even here there's a little bit. And that looks good. Maybe we'll even do we'll just do a tiny bit in the eyes too, like a little dot of light in the eyeballs, in the pupils. maybe a few more details here, just a couple more maybe two in the hat a little bit. Let's make this. That's another thing too. We can add just a few more details there, and then a couple even, we use our titanium white again. We just go this way and that way, that kind of gives us that. And then for the hair, the same thing here now. We can do just a few. A few wisps of hair here and there. And if you feel you need a little more of some shadowing, that's fine. All right, I hope everyone had fun doing this. This is a really fun painting to do. Again, we're just going with our basic principles of getting our major, as we said, we have our major layout of the human head. So we get those hash marks in so that we get the eyes halfway down from the top of the head, and between the chin and the top of the head, halfway. Eyes, mouth is, or bottom of nose, about halfway between the eyes and the chin, and then the mouth and the bottom of the nose and the chin, thirds. So you'll see that that's how we started our Santa here, to get our proportions of where our eyes are and our nose and mouth for Santa's portrait here. Once we got that, we penciled that in. We did our hat, our hair, our vest, and then that was it. And then we just started painting in all of the light and the shadows and the flesh colors, and that really is what how we got our look of Santa here, with the flesh tones and the shadowing, all the interesting details. We didn't go overboard. We didn't do too many details, so I'll remove the tape here and we'll look at it a little closer. I hope you'll use this as your finished work, so you can use this as your, when you go to paint, and you can use the drawing portion. You can pause the tape on the drawing portion so that you'll have that to use for your drawing. And we'll just put this here on the center here. We'll see if we can zoom in a little bit.